I've experienced sexual trauma. I've done a lot of work around it. I've healed so much of this part of me. And I am still unsure when to express this when dating. It doesn't affect my desire to be sexual. I've really worked on this. And when I'm dating, I don't know when to share this information. When is too early too early? This is a question I received from a beautiful young woman around her sexual trauma and now as an adult being in relationship, and how does she share? When does she share? This is important. So for me, when I look at this and I see the courage in this person that has moved through abuse and that has moved through trauma and that continues to do so, because the interesting thing with trauma or any experiences, any extreme experiences that we have, we can definitely do deep work around and we can equilibrate and neutralize that trauma. We can reorientate ourselves to carry a perception, a neuroception, an interoception of self where we are no longer activated, charged, or triggered by that experience or anything that resembles it. And there are times in our lives where we may be vulnerable to that experience. Again, it's another layer of growth, another layer of depth, and so forth. And the richness and the essence of this question is coming from a place of, I want to be more free in myself. I want to express at a deeper level, and I want to be transparent and honest with who I am. What I'm feeling from this woman is that she is embracing all of herself. She is seeing every aspect of who she is, and she appreciates all of herself. She sees, witnesses, holds herself in wholeness. She doesn't carry shame around her past experiences. She realizes that everything that has happened to her, or should I say for her, has happened in a way to unpack herself in the world in the most profound and beautiful ways. And the question also came from a place of, how do men see this? When's too early for men? That was the essence of the question as well. Really wanting to understand a man's angle. Now, whilst I can never speak for all men or even all people that share similar interests to me, I can generalize around this a little bit. The right man, the man that sees you for who you are, who understands that the past, or the present rather, is a product of everything and every experience and every relationship and every way we've been of the past. A man that is mature in his posturing, that carries empathy, deeper awareness around himself, that has moved beyond the density of emotional constructs such as jealousy, guilt, shame. When I say beyond, let me be really clear. Of course, we still feel those things, but he has done his inner work. He carries an awareness and a maturity about him that he can see beyond that, that he is willing to work with you. When is too early too early? It's not. It seems to me there is no too early. It seems to me it's too early for the immature individual, the person that can't hold that. Now, there's another side to that, and I'll get to that in a moment. But for you, if you don't have a charge, if you have worked through, neutralized and equilibrated, harmonized that charge, that tension, that shame, that guilt, that pain, that fear, that trauma within you to a place where you can speak openly to it without having the very somatic or visceral experience that often accompanies trauma when we're thinking about it again or moving through it in a particular way, then I don't think too early is too early. There is no too early. It's part of your life. Now, some people may see that and go, whoa, are you numbing? Are you pretending everything's okay? That was a horrific thing that happened in your life. Are you actually through that? There may be some trepidation and doubt, but through the consistency of your actions, you get to show them who you truly are. Now, sometimes we have experiences and we move through life circumstances that don't align with other people for so many different reasons. Maybe they carry a charge around that. Maybe you're dating someone and you're a couple of weeks in, a week in, 7 weeks in, that doesn't matter too much at this point. And you share this big experience that you've had, and let's assume again it's sexual trauma. Maybe they've had sexual trauma and they haven't quite moved through it at the level of in the way that you have, and that may trigger them. But is too early too early? Not at all. A major life event, something that has shaped massively and distinctively who you are in the world, that's a early conversation piece. It needs to be. We want to give people the absolute chance to, maybe absolute's a strong word, it's an absolute word, it's too definitive, but we want to give people a chance to see us for who we truly are. I was so afraid in my life to speak my truth, to share my experiences, my beliefs, who I was, my thoughts, my values, all of that. And for some of that part, I really didn't know who I was. And so I couldn't really express in the way that I wanted to. But I still withheld it because I had a fear of rejection, abandonment, humiliation. And I didn't want people to see a vulnerable side of me. I didn't give people an opportunity to choose because I wasn't confident in myself. If you carry confidence in who you are, there is no too early. When I first met Christine and we met each other virtually, we were introduced by mutual friends, and I was in Australia and she was in the US. We had in-depth conversations, very deep conversations about our greatest fears, our greatest pains, some of the biggest experiences. I told her within a matter of days who I had been in the world. My infidelity, my sex compulsion, sex addiction, my addiction to pornography, drugs, everything and anything. I told her. I was just honest with who I was because I was in a place in my life where I was confident. And I believed and I held the truth that if this woman, this person can't hold that truth, and I have really moved through this stuff, and yes, there's layers. Like there are always layers, or often layers. And they decrease, they become less as time goes on and we actively, deliberately do our work, pay attention to these areas that have once hurt us and caused restriction, constriction, and fear. They lessen and they often stick around as we evolve and move deeper into our own selves and move deeper into the richness of intimate relationship. These things can come up in different ways. And so I shared that with her within days. She shared with me some of the most profound events and experiences that have happened to her in her life, some that have been shameful, traumatic, fearful. We were able to hold that because we both carried a sense of confidence, not arrogance, but a sense of self-worth, worthiness. If you are worthy, if you feel and deem yourself to be worthy, no matter what you say, you trust that if that person can't hold that, then that's not a blame and shame thing. That's not a they're bad or they're weak or they're less than. That's a, okay, this is not meant to be. This isn't my person. This isn't someone that can hold this. This is too big for them. If this is too big for them and we're just meeting and we're still in the limerence phase and the honeymoon phase, and then what happens when things get really rough between us in real time? And so you get to embrace that and say thank you and know your worth and know yourself. There is no too early per se. Now I'm not, in saying that, I'm not saying, on your first date say, hey, and these are all the traumatic things that have happened to me. Playfulness, lightness, joy, transparency, in the moment presence. That's all very, very important, and get to know each other in that space as well. But don't deny the shadows, don't deny the dark, the pain, the fear. If you have them, speak to them, communicate to them, express them, share. Because part of your journey together is going to be holding each other in a new way that someone hasn't before, to expose a layer that maybe needs healing, requires excavation, attention, openness, curiosity, safety. You get to be in that safety. And so you make that choice. I want to empower you to make that choice. When do you share that information that is on your heart? If it's on your heart, then you share it. Then you give that and you create space to also receive the response of the other. Yes, there may be some trepidation, fear of how they are going to react or respond, but the better you know yourself, the more you trust yourself, and the deeper you love yourself, guess what? There is less trepidation, less fear, and less focus on what they are going to say, and more embodiment of, I just want to be truthful. I just want to own who I am. And yeah, I do want others to see me and love me as well. And if they don't, that's okay. Now, it requires work to get to that point, so keep working on yourself. Keep loving yourself through it all. Power and blessings to you. I'll see you soon.